I want you to think about your life. We're not going to get too philosophical here, but let's assume that most of you in this class are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, and I want you to look back, let's say from the year 2000, and think about what has happened just in that span of your life. In terms of politics, we started with this guy, George W. Bush. He was president for 8 years. Then we elected the first African-American president, Barack Obama. And as many of you are aware, and if you're not aware of this, I'm not sure where you've been living, we now have Donald Trump. Think about the radical shifts in politics that explain those three things. We'll make these guys a little bit smaller and move them out of the way so we can talk a little bit more about some other stuff. Let's think about technology. You all may not even remember this, but the new millennium was ushered in by Y2K, a fear that the whole world was going to shut down because our computers were not prepared to switch over to the year 2000. Since then, we could go through all kinds of fun stuff, but think about what we've seen. We've seen the iPod. We've seen the rise of YouTube. That one doesn't want to go where it's supposed to. There it is. All sorts of fun stuff have come along since Y2K. Remember, at the beginning of the millennium, there weren't even iPods, much less iPhones and iPads. Political events have been tremendous during this time. Of course, you can't even talk about this period without talking about the World Trade Centers, Osama bin Laden, Hurricane Katrina, gay marriage, stock market crash. These are all just a very, very small handful of the things that have happened in the last 17 years. What I would like for you to think about for just a moment, though, is not just the events that have happened, but I want to think about how you would answer this question. What is the effect of all of these things, all of these ideas, events, on the literature that is produced in the U.S. between the years 2000 2017? I think you can see, I hope, that if you were to try to make an argument about how all of these things have affected the literature of the time period, you would, at a certain level, be making things up. It's really pretty impossible to say that it's impossible to say that these things have not had an effect on the literature. It's also impossible to say exactly what that effect has been, how any piece of literature reflects all of these different things that have happened, right? That's important to keep in mind because we're getting ready to try to define Romantic era literature. And remember, that takes place between roughly 1800 and 1832. It's a period twice as long as what we've been talking about, and there's quite a bit of stuff that happens during that time. Just want you to think about that. As you read the introduction to our Romanticism anthology, Duncan Wu is at a certain level making things up. It's not to say we should just dismiss everything that he has to say, but it is important to keep in mind that we're going to find what he's doing is synthesizing a lot of stuff, making some broad generalizations, and we're going to spend a lot of time talking about how the literature we read does or does not fit into that. Looking forward to that discussion with you.